We are about to embark on a conversation about a really cool organization that is fascinating to me and I'm excited to learn more about along with you, the viewer, right now. We're talking about the Salty Cricket Composers Collective. Guys, did I get it right?
You did.
I got it right.
Correct.
Say hello to Laura Crossett and Rick Mortensen. How are you all? Welcome to the show.
We're great. Thanks for having us.
Excellent. So, first off, give a little bit of the genesis of the collective and why it exists.
Okay, well, the collective started in 2006, and
Wow.
it was primarily to give life to mostly performances to new music. And originally it was new music that's kind of on the classical side, serious music, right? And it was started by, I was around at the genesis. It was started by some people, Crystal Young Otterstrom, who works at the Symphony, and M. Ryan Taylor, who's a local composer. And then I started this musical theater thing kind of off to the side, because all I've ever wanted to do is write musicals. And I wanted to get a place to perform them, and I wanted to get a group that would submit them. And so I said, you know, why don't we start a musical theater group? And then we said, well, why don't we have a performance? And then I said to Salty Cricket, why don't we do it as part of your season? So this is the only Broadway-oriented part of the Salty Cricket season.
I see.
You know, we'll see how it goes. It's the first time they've had it on their season, and hopefully we get some folks out there and they think it's worthwhile.
Well, my initial comment that I want to make is hats off. I don't have a hat, but hats off to the folks who named the Salty Cricket
That would
group,
be Crystal Young Otterstrom.
I think that there's an accessibility and wow, that sounds like might be a cool pop group or something like that.
Right.
So very good. Laura, talk a little bit about your work as director for this particular show.
Well, I was asked to direct these 5 new musicals. Some of them are complete. 2 of them are in process. Rick's and another composer, Rick Ray, also have musicals that are just in process. And so this is a way to help them to see what it's like when people are actually singing the songs and using their words and being the characters that they're creating and seeing where the story goes. So I got the chance to read through the musicals and listen to the music and play through the music, and in 5 very different ways, stories create a picture, a life, a meaning to these 5 different stories. So it is rather challenging for me to put myself in 5 different places as a director does, but that's what I've tried to do and it's also great to be able to communicate with the composers and the writers and call them up on the phone or send them an email and say, hey, what did you mean by this? Or I'm getting this from these words. Is this what you mean? Or things like that has been very helpful in this process, which a lot of times directors don't get to do.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
helpful to the composer too.
Yeah, no question.
And the thing that's
Great
most
dialogue.
helpful to these composers, lyricists, and book writers is that they're going to see what works in front of an audience. They're going to see, we build it is for discerning theater audiences who can go and say, oh, I could see how that could work. It's not quite there, you know. But they're going to see what songs people like, what lines get laughs, you know, things like that. And so that's the most exciting part for me as a composer.
Well, in the real-time sort of focus group of just standing in the back of the theater and listening where the beats happen, where the laughs happen
beats,
or don't.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's all about the beats.
It's got to be an exciting prospect as you're still. I understand you're still in the midst of your piece that you're writing and composing.
Right, I have exactly 1 scene done, and you saw most of it. Yeah, it's a musicalization of Albert Camus' essay, The Myth of Sisyphus. And since that didn't really lend itself to a musical, I had one of my characters be writing his dissertation on the essay, The Myth of Sisyphus, and then his girlfriend. And so I had kind of a love story there. And then Camus makes an appearance. And
I couldn't help in hearing you guys rehearse think that it was quite an interesting sort of almost like a musical within a musical, a meta musical that the talk about composition within the composition is kind of a.
yeah.
I was working hard to get my head around it.
Well,
sure,
we
but it was
used the
cool.
word meta. And then the one you're about to hear, like she was talking about 5 totally different stories. The one you're about to hear is a musicalization of Silas, thank you, the George Eliot novel.
Right.
And it's just gorgeous. Like I heard the she sent some MP3s, and I heard this song that we're unfortunately not going to do because the singer couldn't make it, but it's called Two Faces, and I guarantee the audience is going to weep when they hear it.
Wow.
But it's mine's kind of meta, as you said, and hers is very, very straightforward.
Cool.
And, it gave Laura a chance to be both a director of, kind of
Right. His
in
is more
jokes.
absurd, and this one is very, very kind of epic in its story and its tale. Very character driven, very family emotional, value driven.
Think Les Miserables, only better.
Yeah, we
Only better. Of course.
we have a Western that's happening, kind of an just purely entertainment musical theater.
Hilarious.
Western takes place around a poker game, and then the other one is a, what did he call it? A dysfunctional family of the gods.
Zeus.
It's the story of Persephone and Demeter, and
Persephone's mother doesn't want her to go to Olympus because everyone,
and so he wrote
it's
this,
a bad
this
influence.
song about this, and then
There's the Giants.
M. Ryan Taylor, who is one
A
of the
serious opera composer. M. Ryan
composers.
Taylor has written full-scale operas, and he presented something that's there's a children's story, but it's an old-school children's story, so there's lots of blood and guts and gore. It's like the old Grimm stories.
Sure.
Called The
Fantastic.
Giant's Heart. And it's written by George MacDonald, who was kind of a mentor to Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, and it's just fantastical.
He really kept very close to the story as well. He put it to music is basically what he did. This children's story from the author there. He just put it to music, and that's all it is. It wasn't a script that I got. I got MP3s minus tracks and a score. And so that's what I got to look through to figure out how to make this work. And the
Very
challenging thing
serious
is
music.
that it takes place, these guys are giants, but we also have, children. So how do you put giants and children on the stage and using 5 actors that are all the same size?
I don't know, Laura. How do
find out.
you?
Exactly. You'll have to come.
Excellent. So tell folks about the event.
It's February 9th, Thursday, February 9th, week from tomorrow, at the Rose Wagner Center for the Performing Arts, 138 West Broadway, across the street from Squatters. You can get tickets through ArtTix or at the Rose box office. 355 Arts is how you get them from ArtTix or arttix.org. And it's called Broadway Bound. It's also called Salty Cricket. Ask for Salty Cricket when you call because they might be confused. I don't know. Salty Cricket.
There's only one Salty Cricket, so if you may confuse them with Broadway Bound, but Salty Cricket will have no confusion whatsoever.
And tickets are just $15, 10 for students. We hope you will make the drive down the mountain and see it.
Come and support these composers. That's really what we're doing this for. And I've tried to really be honest, or be to honor their work. And that's what this is for, to give them a chance to have this produced.
Well, as we were talking a little bit before we came on air, I think it's a really great opportunity for people to access popular music, new music that is of a little different format than rock and roll or a 3-piece jam or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a really cool milieu to experience the genesis of new work, and we wish you the best of luck.
Well, thank you.
Hopefully be able to make it down. Laura, thank you for coming.
Come.
And we will see you guys very soon.
All right.
We're going to take a break. We'll have a